Good evening, AirPs. How are we doing today? I hope you had a relaxing weekend. Kitty Coo. Good evening, Kitty Coo. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great weekend. Pretty relaxing here. I actually got a lot of things done that I wanted to get done this weekend. I didn't think I was going to be able to, but pretty busy both Friday, Saturday. Pretty busy. You couldn't find your notes on old Jeffrey? Well, do your best, Kitty Q. And good evening, Gianna Marie. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Rackart. Good evening, Rackart. Welcome to tonight's trivia. This time you got no notification. Wow. You should have gotten a notification. Everybody should have gotten a notification this time around. Now that's an odd one. Because I actually posted and made the event on Tuesday of this past week. So I wanted to give everybody as much advance notice. And then I posted it to actual a post on the community tab. So it was there as well. You should have gotten should have gotten the notification of live tonight. Plus you should have gotten the notification, subscriber notification for the community tab. That's odd. You might want to check your settings. But it wouldn't be surprising at the same time though if YouTube and their infinite wisdom didn't send out notifications either. But we've all seen that not happen. Tonight, I am drinking passion fruit tea in Joni. You all remember Joni from Happy Days? Joni Loves Chachi. What was this? 1977. That's how long we've had these glasses. 1977. Passion fruit. It's addicting. It's that zero sugar. It's actually sweetened with honey. YouTube is a real piece of work, Rycart says. It is. It can definitely be finicky, especially when it comes to notifications. There are people who have been channel members for going on 4 years, and they never knew that there is a playlist that is separate, that is just channel member only videos. Until recently, I pointed it out to them. There's an entire playlist that is channel members only, and that those videos are either they get the a 2 to 4 day advance notice. Plus, there's also videos that are only going to be channel member videos. They didn't even know after 4 years, because YouTube has never given them a notification at all that there's a new video, for channel members. So how are they supposed to know, right? I mean, I give them a tutorial when they all join, but I mean, you can't expect to remember that a year or 2 years or 4 years down the road. 567891035. Good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great weekend. Glad you could be here with us. All right, let's get tonight's trivia going. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 345th episode of Trivia. 345th. This program documents actual crimes and offenses by criminals. Some of the content covered here may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. You will get another warning of this before we get into the actual trivia. The trivia tonight strictly adheres to factual evidence and verified data by the FBI and the Department of Justice. It does not include conspiracy theories, speculations, or unverified claims about what may have happened. If you are seeking sensationalism or content related to similar theories or lies spread by those who can't be bothered to do the research on this topic, this event and topic may not be a right fit for you. Jeffrey Dahmer, the monster of Milwaukee, is what all of the trivia questions tonight are on. Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer, May 21st, 1960, died November 28th, 1994, was an American serial killer and sex offender who killed and dismembered 17 men and boys between 1978 and 1991. Many of his later murders involved necrophilia, cannibalism, and permanent preservation of body parts, typically all of the parts or the skeleton. Although he was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, BPD, schizotypical personality disorder, STPT, and psychotic disorder, Dahmer was found to be legally sane at his trial. He was convicted of 15 of the 16 homicides he had committed in Wisconsin and was sentenced to 15 terms of life imprisonment. On February 17, 1992, Dahmer was later sentenced for his 16th term of life imprisonment for an additional homicide committed in Ohio in 1978. On November 28, 1994, Dahmer was beaten to death by a fellow inmate while in prison. Tonight, again, is about Jeffrey Dahmer. Neither I nor my advertisers or sponsors associated with this content shall be held responsible for individuals under the age of 17 accessing this material. Additionally, we are not liable for comments on our live chat messages, as they do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the advertisers or myself. That is not mainly for YouTube, because we have moderators that are controlling it. I am saying and reading that statement because of the other places that I do stream this to. This is not the only platform. Warning again, tonight's trivia questions can be graphic in nature, so please be advised. So viewer discretion is advised. With that said, question number 1 of 20 is now on the screen. What year was Jeffrey Dahmer arrested for murder? What year was Jeffrey Dahmer arrested for murder? A, 1989, B, 1990, C, 1991, or D, 1992? And good evening, Sal and Miss K. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Yes, warning, warning, Reichart. You are absolutely correct. Good evening, Cement Shoes. Welcome to tonight's trivia, Cement Shoes. I hope you had a great weekend, Cement Shoes. Glad you could be here with us. What year was Jeffrey Dahmer arrested for murder? Question number 1 of 20. Smoke him if you got him. All right, question number 1. Left-handed RN, good evening. Question number 1 of 20. The correct answer is C, as in cat. 1991, Jeffrey Dahmer was arrested and formally charged with murder in the first degree. That was the initial charge to hold him over to see the magistrate. They then added the additional 16 more charges. Again, he was found guilty of 16 of the 17 charges of murder in the first degree and given life terms for the 16 of the 17 that he was convicted of. Lita, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Reichardt doesn't remember some of the content about Jeffrey Dahmer, so he's copying it. Whichever you need to do to answer the question. Use phone a friend, ask your loved one, sitting on the couch, ask the person at the Love's truck stop, phone a friend, whatever. Shout out the window and to the neighbors walking past your home. It's not cheating unless you consider it cheating. Use any method you want to come up with the answers. Question number 2. How many young men does the FBI officially list as victims of Jeffrey Dahmer? Is it A, 36, B, 86, C, 19, or D, 17? Question number 2 of 20. How many young men does the FBI officially list as the victims of Jeffrey Dahmer? I hope you had a great weekend, Lita. I'm glad you could be here with us tonight for trivia. Ask Obama. Is Obama going to help us? Kitty cute? D? I don't know. How many young men does the FBI officially list as victims of Jeffrey Dahmer? Question number 2 of 20. The correct answer is D as in dog, 17. The FBI does not deal in speculation or, may have body count of this X number. They list only what can be proven in his file. If at a later date they do determine he did kill an 18th, 19th, 20th, or 27th, they will then update that information. But as of the end of February of 2025, they list his total murder count at 17. 17 young men and boys is what Jeffrey Dahmer, according to the FBI, murdered. Question number 3 of 20. What U.S. state did most of Jeffrey Dahmer's commit his murders in? Wow. I can actually English. Apparently I can't by the way that I wrote that. But question number 3 should read, what U.S. state did Jeffrey Dahmer commit most of his crimes in? That's what it should read. I don't know how the hell I wrote that. But anyways, A, Ohio, B, Wisconsin, C, Minnesota, or D, Illinois. Question 3 of 20. Well, thank you, Lita. I appreciate that. Meep. Good evening, Meep Meep. Welcome to tonight's trivia, Meep. I'm glad you can be here with us tonight, Meep. All right, question 3 of 20. What state did Jeffrey Dahmer commit the majority of his crimes in? The correct answer is B as in boy. In the state of Wisconsin is where he committed the majority of his murders in Wisconsin. Did you know is next. Dahmer came up with unique ways to drug each of his victims, adding sleeping pills and sedatives that were ground up into multiple items. Each item was put in a cabinet or refrigerator. If it needed to be refrigerated, it was put in the refrigerator. If it would need to be, shelf stable, it was put in the cabinet. With a marking of either a number 3 or a number 2, noting how many were added to each item of either sleeping pills or sedatives or both. And if he added multiple sedatives or multiple sleeping pills, he would write a 3 or a 2 on the actual item, just the number 3. So he could keep track. Okay, this victim's going to need more. So he could keep track of what he was actually giving them. Did you know that? Question number 4 of 20. What state did Jeffrey commit his first murder in? Was it A, Wisconsin, B, Ohio, C, Minnesota, or D, Nebraska? Question number 4 of 20. Seclusion works. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. You always wondered what was wrong with him? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 0, 3, 5. You always wondered what was wrong with Jeffrey. Jeffrey had a lot of issues. And if someone like Jeffrey Dahmer was to be arrested, for a series of crimes like this again today, the high likelihood is, even with the state of Wisconsin and his defense team both agreeing that he was criminally insane, if someone like Jeffrey Dahmer was arrested today, they would never even proceed to trial. That individual would be locked up in a state hospital, care facility somewhere until they can be, brought to sanity, to be able to aid in their defense. Jeffrey was not even during his trial he was like shell of a person, because they started giving him medication. Was he able to aid in his own defense? Kind of, but not really. He wasn't able. There wasn't much of a defense to put up with, either. So, but again, if someone like Jeffrey Dahmer was to be arrested, and charged with the crimes today, they would never go through the trial. Back when he went through this, 20 plus years ago, the laws were different then. But now we know that, someone like Jeffrey Dahmer would not be able to aid in their own defense. You can be crazy and still think that you're sane. Yeah, he is criminally insane for sure. You are correct, Sal. All right, question number 4. The correct answer is B, as in boy, Ohio. Ohio in 1978 is when Jeffrey Dahmer committed his first murder. 1978 in Ohio. Question number 5. He watched him for weeks. That fateful day, he watched him as he got closer and closer. Who was Jeffrey Dahmer's first murder victim? Was it A, Stephen Taylor, B, Stephen Moore, C, Stephen Hicks, or D, Stephen Tanner? Oh, yeah. Meep says, trying to turn people into zombies. He was trying to turn his victims into the perfect sex zombie. He wanted a subservient sex zombie that would fulfill all of his sexual pleasures, is what Jeffrey Dahmer was trying to create. Not just a regular zombie, but a sex zombie. Oh yeah, I forgot that it all began in Ohio. Ohio. I did my criminology AS paper on serial killers. Ooh, I bet that was interesting. Seclusion works. Kitty Q says she's going with C. She's copying. Perfectly acceptable, Kitty Q. Question number 5. The correct answer is C as in cat. C as in cat. Stephen Hicks was Jeffrey Dahmer's first victim, 1978 in Ohio. Rykart A. Stephen Tyler. Yeah, Taylor. Stephen Taylor is another victim of another serial killer. So is Stephen Moore. They were both victims of Juan Edward Covington. Well, they never. I should make that clear. They were victims of somebody, and they believe that they were killed by Stephen Covington, Juan Covington, but those were never confirmed. If you don't know who Juan Covington is, it's a whole other bag of worms. All right, question number 6. What city was Jeffrey living in and working in when he was arrested and charged with murder? Was it A, Milwaukee, B, Minneapolis, C, Grand Forks, or D, Cleveland? By the time you completed it, I needed a long vacation in Europe. Oh, wow. Was it that grueling, huh? I didn't think he killed anybody in Ohio. I thought he grew up there, said Meat. Sal wants to know, where is Rykart in the world today? Rykart is kind of like our traveling Carmen Sandiego. Where is he? Where is Rykart? Faithful Long. Good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you've been doing well. Faithful One. Glad you could be here tonight for trivia on Jeffrey Dahmer. Question number 6 of 20. What state and where was Jeffrey Dahmer living at the time he was arrested for murder? New Jack City. Good evening, Lemon Pie. I'm glad you can make it tonight. You felt like you shook the hands with evil. 60 degrees, sunny weekend weather, South Dakota. I thought you said you'd never go back to South Dakota, Rykart. Isn't there snow there? Rykart doesn't like snow in the Dakotas. Joe Tallchief, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Yep, it's getting warmer where Joe Tallchief, northern Minnesota, is where Joe Tallchief is. It is getting warmer there. That's a good thing to know. I'm glad the weather's warming up for you. Soon the state bird will be out in force. And the state bird in the state of Minnesota is the mosquito. They're so big they can pick up little children and fly off with them. Okay, not really. That's just a joke for people who live in the state of Minnesota, that the state bird is the mosquito and that they are so big they can fly away with little children. Dahmer was a chocolate factory worker. Yes. Question number 6. The correct answer is A as in apple, Milwaukee. He was living in Milwaukee. And my connection to Jeffrey Dahmer, not really, but kind of a, quinky-dink little side note, I lived down the street and around the corner above a laundromat and small independent like grocery store at the time that Jeffrey Dahmer lived in Milwaukee. So I was within not even a mile. I would put it close to the street that he lived on there, maybe half a mile, 3/4 of a mile from where I lived. Of course, I didn't go out much as I was a little kid, but Meep is getting thunderstorms. There's absolutely and unbelievably no snow in South Dakota this time. You're freaking unfreaking believable. Texas was colder than here last week. Wow. Sorry, Rykart. But hey, at least you can't get stuck in it. And then you can't get stuck in the no snow. That is creepy, Kitty Coo. It was. All right. Did you know is next? The vat, the 355-gallon drums that had fluid in them that were discovered when police searched Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment had the DNA of 8 victims in each of them. Blue 55-gallon drums that all had some concoction of different acids in them had the DNA evidence of 8 victims, so 16 victims total. Now, we also know that he kept parts of people in the refrigerator. There was one victim that was in the shower. What was left of that victim was in the shower. He stood over and showered every day because he was out of places to put people. His victims, he was out of places to put them. But the blue 55-gallon drums had the DNA of 8 individuals. Ooh. All right, question number 7. Arrested for murder in 1991. What year, though, did he commit his first murder? Have you been paying attention? You should already have the answer. You should. A, 1969. B, 1968. C, 1970. Or D, 1978. When did Jeffrey Dahmer commit his first murder? It's theorized he used the acid to create a master mixture. Rykart, sponsored by NBC. The more you know moment. You know that entire thing is copyrighted? The rainbow, the words, the more you know, all of that is 100% copyrighted. I so wanted to use that for a series, on unknown serial killers. I so wanted to use that as like the intro. The more you know, but that entire thing, the logo, the stars, the music, all of it, it's all copyrighted. In the year 2525, if man is still alive. Don't remember. D. All right, question number 7. The correct answer is, in fact, D. 1978, in the state of Ohio, he committed his first murder. Question number 8. By all accounts, Jeffrey dreamed about committing murder long before he actually did. How old was he the first time he took the plunge to murder? Was it A, at the age of 18, B, at the age of 16, C, at the age of 15, or D, at the age of 19? Question number 8 of 20. How old was Jeffrey Dahmer when he actually committed his first murder? Seclusion Work says, I thought Dahmer would be easy to write about. Between Gacy and Dahmer, I didn't think I'd see evil. Meat says he only had a one-bedroom apartment. True. The 55-gallon drums that he had in his apartment were all in the like bedroom area. And well, they were in the bedroom area, then moved to the living room, and then the police took them out. That had to be fun as hell. Jeffrey the Dreamer. I can't believe that the victims didn't notice the awful smell. Well, once Jeffrey got you into the apartment, you weren't leaving. Only 2 victims ever got back out of that apartment. One got back out, and he didn't speak enough English to be able to tell the police, what was going on inside that apartment. And the police believed that it was a lover's quarrel, so they brought him back, and Jeffrey killed him in short order. The only other victim that went into that apartment and actually left was the one who ended up going to law enforcement and telling them exactly what Jeffrey is doing and what's going on there. And that's the only one who ever went in and lived to tell about it. Yeah, the aquarium story. You're absolutely right. Seclusion Works. Why would they let a cannibal in general population? Jeffrey wasn't in general population. He was in a protective housing unit, but he had a job in the prison, just like any other inmate. To apply for a job, and in the area he was in a multi-use area, a gym that was used by general population and those in protective custody. And that was where he was beaten and murdered. But he was in protective custody otherwise with other inmates who had other crimes like Jeffrey Dahmer, or who were deemed not to be a violent risk. Question number 8, though, the correct answer is A as in apple. Jeffrey Dahmer was 18 when he committed his first murder. Question number 9. Of course he did. What branch of the military did Jeffrey Dahmer serve in? Was it A, the United States Marine Corps, brah? B, the U.S. Air Force? C, the Space Force? Or D, the United States Army? I have a dream to kill is what Jeffrey yelled out, says Reichardt. Do you ever want to go down a dark rabbit hole? Go back from the time that the Mayflower landed, in America, and the first pilgrims came off of the first ships into this new world. From that date forward to 2025, take a look at all of the known serial killers that we've ever caught in America that have ever been caught or prosecuted. All right, and look at how many of them served in the United States military. That's a dark rabbit hole you don't want to go down. African American and Asian. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 0, 3, 5. Majority of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims were African American and Asian, because that is what he liked. That was part of his profile of what excited him and what he was looking for. Serial killers have, desires. They have someone who they are looking for. Maybe it's, a replacement for someone who broke their heart, as in Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy picked single, slim, white women with long brown hair that were a replacement for his fiance that called off their engagement and left him. So all of his victims were that way. They all looked the same way because they looked just like her. That was what he liked. John Wayne Gacy liked, smaller, slender, muscular, but with some muscle, young men. They all have a profile that they like. And Dahmer's just happened to be African American and Asian. Yep. Gacy, young males. True. All right, question number 9. The correct answer is D, as in dog. Question number 10. Jeffrey lured his victims to his home in many ways. Can you find the one method that was the most successful for him from below? He used all of these, but which one was the most successful? Was it A, free pot, B, cash to pose nude, C, free beer or whiskey, or D, cash for sex? Jeffrey lured his victims to his home in many ways. Can you find the method from below that was the most successful for him? Again, he used every single one of these methods. But which one was the most successful? I have never seen that, Sal. The Dahmer tapes. I heard that it's good, though. Like you said, pretty good. Question number 10. Question 10 of 20. Which one was the most successful? All right, the answer to question number 10 of 20. The correct answer is B, as in boy. Pose nude for cash. Pose nude for cash was the most successful. These people didn't believe they were be in any real harm's way to take photos. The goes in order as this. So pose nude for cash was the most successful. After that, the next one was free alcohol or beer or whiskey. That was the next one. Next after that was free pot. And then last of the most successful was cash for sex. Those are the ones that lured his victims to the home more. But pose nude for cash is the correct answer, as being the most successful method that he used to lure his victims into his home. That is the first 10 questions of tonight's trivia. As we always do, after the first 10 questions, we take a break. You can go and do whatever you want. But while you're on that break, I'm going to present you 2 cases of real people who are missing and endangered from across the United States. You have a total of a 7-minute break that you can take. And I will let you know after I'm done with those that there is still going to be a couple of minutes left. Do what you need to do for the next 7 minutes if you don't want to, watch this part. But anyways, if you want to shotgun some beers, smoke a couple bowls, make a sandwich, make yourself some tea, do whatever you need to do. You do you. All right. With that in mind, I am excited to share that I am collaborating with several incredible organizations to help raise awareness for missing and endangered individuals. These include the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which tirelessly works to locate missing kids and prevents exploitation. The Charlie Project, an invaluable database for documenting missing person cases from across the United States. The FBI, which investigates critical cases involving missing persons, along with NAMUS, the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, which provides tools and resources to solve missing and unidentified person cases, along with state and local law enforcement agencies, including the District of Columbia. Starting in later in 2025, most likely in the month of June, I will be working with the Doe Network as well to highlight a dozen missing cold cases. Together, we aim to shine a light on these cases, supporting the families impacted and keep their stories alive in hopes of bringing a resolution. With that said, first case tonight is Heather Dawn Riggle, age 39 as of 2025. Was last seen on 8/21 of 2019 in Vallejo, California. Dawn, as she goes by her middle name, not Heather, but Dawn, is 5'9" inches tall, 210 to 220 pounds. She has blue eyes and no known tattoos or scars. Heather Dawn Riggle was last seen wearing a black sweatshirt, black leggings, and purple Nike tennis shoes. She often wore glasses with white frames, not the black ones you see in this photo. This is her DMV photograph for her driver's license. But just picture those with a white frame, exact same style. The black ones are her backup pair. No other information is known about the disappearance, of her, other than what she was wearing that day, and she was seen on surveillance cameras leaving her actual residency. If you know anything about Heather Dawn Riggle, or if you know anybody who may have seen her, or you've seen her recently, she very well could be alive and just decided to move on with her life and not tell anybody from where she was in the Vallejo, California area. She could have moved to Los Angeles for all we know, or something nefarious happened to her. We don't know. The tip line that is on your screen, you can remain anonymous by leaving a tip by calling 707-648-4488 and leaving a tip that may help bring this case to a closure. Case number 2 is Sasha Marie Bishop. She is 47 years old as of the turn of the new year. Was last seen on 5/9 of 2015 in Bakersfield, California. She is 5'2", 120 to 125 pounds, brown hair, eyes, and brown hair. She often dyed her hair a burgundy color or put blonde highlights in her hair. She has a lot of tattoos. Notice the second photo there is her entire sleeve. That is her left arm that is completely covered from the top of her shoulder all the way down to her wrist of tattoos. Bishop was last seen at her residency in the 5500 block of Dustin Street in Bakersfield, California on May 9th, 2015. She has never been heard from again. Authorities state she disappeared under unusual circumstances and is considered to be at risk. She left behind 3 children, minor children, all at that time. Excuse me. The second photo here, you can note on what would be her left side of her face, she has little paw prints that are tattooed on her face there. They look like little dots in this photo, and I'm sorry, there's not a better photo, but they're little paw prints that are tattooed on the side of her face by her eye there. Interesting other little side notes to the disappearance of Bishop is not even a month after she disappeared one of her other roommates that she resided with, at the time, was murdered at the home, was shot dead by someone else, and that case is still open. And law enforcement initially, when Bishop went missing, they were under the theory that something else was going on inside of the home and that she disappeared of her own free will because she knew that there was something that was coming down the pipes, or maybe there was a threat against the other person, her roommate, who was eventually murdered. And that person was murdered on the front steps of their home that they shared. There were a total of 4 roommates, and she was one of them. At the time when Bishop went missing, she did not have custody of her 3 minor children. They all lived with their father, her ex-husband. So they were not at the home when she disappeared or when the murder took place, again, which was a month after, almost a month after she left. You can leave a tip at the following: 661-327-7111, and that is the Vallejo Sheriff's Department that you can leave a tip at. I cannot promise that if you leave a tip at that number that it will be taken as anonymous, but that is the only number that I was able to find on any of the missing person networks that is actively still investigating her disappearance. Today's headline story does not mean forgotten tomorrow. Please help bring home Orrin and Orson West and others today. Orrin and Orson, ages 4 and 3 at the time, were killed by their adoptive parents, Trezell and Jacqueline West, who have now been convicted of their deaths, but yet refuse to tell authorities what they did with their remains. We need closure in this case. Even if you think to yourself, I have no idea who these kids are, nor do I care. Well, there are family members and friends out there who do care and do want closure, and they'll never get closure until their remains are, interned, with respect. Are they buried in the desert somewhere, or were they thrown away like, yesterday's trash? We don't know, but they need to be returned. And neither Trezell or Jacqueline will tell the authorities what they did with them. With that in mind, you still have a couple of minutes of your break left before we get back to the rest of tonight's trivia. 10 more questions plus the weekly, sneak peek at this week's Cummings poll. That's true, Kitty Coo. And while, according to a couple of different attorneys that I've spoken to about the West case, the reason why they're not telling authorities where they are is because they were found guilty, they're hoping that they'll be able to win their freedom on appeal afterwards. But it's hard to win your appeal afterwards if you believe, you told the authorities where their remains are. And that's why they don't do it. They could just tell somebody else, and an anonymous tip could come in and lead them to where the remains are, but they won't even do that. And they could promise them immunity on any additional charges. Say, look, we won't charge you with any other crimes in this case. Just tell us where the boys are. And they could do that, but they haven't. The state hasn't. No one has offered that to them at all. So they refuse. Cody Bigsby is still missing. They do. They do plain and simple suck. You were absolutely right, Kitty Coo. All right. We got 25 seconds left. They don't know where Cody Bixby is. There are a lot of cases, unfortunately, like that. And every one of them is horrific. His father is being tried. Yeah. Didn't they have an older boy with them when arrested? Maybe he knows something. Yeah, if everyone in the West case has been investigated and has been spoken to. Everyone. All right, without further delay, let's get back to our normal programming. Question number 11 about Jeffrey Dahmer is now on your screen. Like a lot of serial killers, Jeffrey had a certain type of victim he was looking for. He wanted skinny, physically fit, short hair, no tattoos, and to be, have you been paying attention? You may have the answer already. Was it to be A, white, Caucasian, B, Hispanic, Mexican preferred, Asian, Thailand preferred, or D, Native American Indian? Like a lot of serial killers, Jeffrey had a certain type of victim he was looking for. He wanted skinny, physically fit, short hair, no tattoos, and to be what? Question number 11 of 20. Ivory Lady, good evening, Ivory Lady, and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a terrific weekend. Pippadot. Good evening, Pippadot. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great weekend. I did. I did. All right, question number 11. The correct answer is C as in cat. Jeffrey Dahmer had two different types that he was looking for, African American and Asian. That is what Jeffrey Dahmer preferred, Asians and African Americans. Why? I don't know. I'm not Jeffrey Dahmer, and I don't think he ever told anybody why. Next, question number 12. How many of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims did he eventually meet and pick up and convince to go back to his home from local malls or strip malls, not strip clubs, strip malls? Was it A, 5, B, 144,000, C, 6, or D, 4? How many of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims did he eventually meet and pick up and convince to go back to his home from local malls and strip malls? And when I say local malls, I'm talking about a mall that is enclosed where all the entrances to the stores are from the inside of the actual mall itself. A strip mall is a series of stores where the entrance is from the outside. Dahmer is lucky that he didn't run into Bruce Lee, because Bruce Lee would have sent Jeffrey to the hospital or to the grave. That's true. Now, I'm not saying that Jeffrey Dahmer, only got, ones that when his preference was Asian, that he only got those from Thailand. That's just what he preferred. Not that he always got that. He may have gotten some from Thailand or, some from Cambodia. But he preferred Asians and African Americans. Maybe those Africans, African Americans have ancestry in different places. I don't think he did a 23andMe test on them before he killed them. It's just his preference. I want to know the chocolate company. How many of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims did he eventually meet and pick up and convince to go back to his home from malls? Question number 12. The correct answer is A, 5. There were 5 of his victims that he got at the mall. All of them he convinced with the photo. Come back to my place, take some pictures for some cash. Question number 13. What was one of the items Jeffrey injected into the brains of his already dead victims in an effort to preserve them longer? They're already dead. Obviously, he did this not to make them into zombies. They're dead. You can't make the dead rise. Or maybe he thought he could. I don't know. But anyways, what did he inject into these people that were already dead? Was it A, window cleaner, B, blood from other victims, C, whole milk, or D, boiling water? What was one of the items Jeffrey injected into the brains of his already dead victims? Not hit where he is trying to make a zombie. The person is already dead. He wants to preserve them. What is he injecting into them to preserve them? Left-handed RN, good evening. And you were absolutely correct. He did work for Ambrosia Chocolate Company. Joe Talchi says Dahmer looked normal. Well, I think all the serial killers that I can think of, except for maybe Ed Gein, right off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more, but all of them pretty much look normal for their time and place in society when they're actively killing, because that's how you get away with it. You have to blend into society. You don't want to stick out. You don't want to be, the crazy, guy over there with the Einstein, messed up hair. You want to look just like the next person next to you. You want to wear the same kind of clothes that the next person is wearing. You want to drive the same kind of car that other people would be driving. You have to, and that's how you get away with it for so long, to get more victims. You don't want to stick out. So, Dahmer blended in. So did Gacy. Gacy blended into his, part of society and what he was doing for a living in order to get more victims. Ted Bundy blended into society. They all have to. Well, Richard Ramirez didn't have to look normal, Sal, because he was the Night Stalker. He did all his dirty work at night. All right. What did Jeffrey Dahmer inject into the brains of his already dead victims to preserve them longer? He injected D as in dog, boiling water. He injected boiling water into the brains of his already deceased victims so he could preserve them, so he could have them with him for longer. He believed that as the body started to decomp, that injecting them with their brains with boiling water would flush out, all of the, decomposition, and he could keep their bodies around for his pleasure for longer. And by that, you can now put that in your mind and think about what he was actually doing with these individuals. Yeah, they're dead. And he wanted to keep them around longer with him. Did you know, during a casual interview with law enforcement, Jeffrey admitted he ate part of several victims. He also casually talked about grinding up the meat into a patty, and he ate it on wheat bread. Yeah. Question number 14. Not only is it part of the title of a song, what did Jeffrey call his apartment in Milwaukee? Was it A, Rising Sun, B, Palm 69, 69, 69, or C, West End Girl, or D, Real Motherfucking G's? I threw D in just for cement shoes. D is they were plastic barrels, meat. He was a cannibal. Question number 14 of 20. Not only is it part of the title of a song, what did Jeffrey call his apartment in Milwaukee? All right, the answer to question number 14 is A, as an apple, Rising Sun. He had a little plaque that was given to him by a former coworker as a housewarming gift or something. I don't know why. What the actual reason is behind it, but it's a little brown plaque, and it says, "The home is where the sun shall rise," is what it said on the plaque. Okay, and it has a yellow and orange sun at the top. Home is where the sun rises. What? Cement shoes? You're going with B? You don't want to go with easy E's, real motherfucking G's? It obviously isn't that, but yeah, A is an apple is the real one. Question number 15 of 20. When police arrested Jeffrey, what shocking and explosive evidence did they find in his kitchen refrigerator? Was it A, a bomb, B, human body parts, C, Eazy-E handwritten lyric notes, D, step-by-step recipe for human soup? When the police arrested Jeffrey Dahmer, what shocking and explosive evidence did they find in his kitchen refrigerator? Seclusion works. I wondered the same thing about my brain sometimes, about after all these years of doing this, stuff that sticks with me about certain killers and crimes. It's amazing how the brain works, doesn't it? Oh, I write everything down, Sal. You know that. All right, question number 15. The correct answer is B as in boy. Human body parts is what was found inside of the refrigerator. Not just inside of the refrigerator, but the freezer as well. In the refrigerator, there was several different parts of more than one victim that were in the refrigerator and freezer. But human body parts. Jersey Shore VHS tapes. Good one, right, Cart? Anthony Edwards, if I remembered right. Question number 16. You're about to experience the strength of real street knowledge. Besides his neighbors, who did Jeffrey feed possible victims to? This has never been confirmed. But besides his neighbors, who did Jeffrey possibly feed his victims to? Was it A, coworkers, B, homeless people, C, stray cats and dogs, or D, people he randomly met at malls? Question number 16 of 20. Excuse me. You're about to experience the strength of real street knowledge. That is part of a song. Okay. You're about to experience the strength of real street knowledge. That's part of a song. All right, the correct answer to question number 16 is A as in apple. Again, this has never been confirmed that he ground up people and fed them to his neighbors, but there are, confirmed reports that, from his neighbors that Jeffrey had given them sandwiches in the past when they were spoken to. Did he actually feed human beings to his neighbors and to his coworkers? We cannot confirm that because nobody saved the sandwiches. But we know that Jeffrey himself ate people, but he never confirmed that he did it, that he ground up people and fed them to other people. But we know that Jeffrey did it himself. He was definitely a cannibal. Did you know when Tracy Edwards escaped and went to the police, they didn't believe what he told them. They couldn't believe the horrors they would eventually find in his apartment. Really, who could? And seclusion works. I saw that you put Tracy Edwards' name earlier, and I'm sitting here biting my lip. I'm like, I can't say that because it's coming up. But yes, your memory still serves you right. It was Tracy Edwards. Question number 17. Every victim besides two all had one thing in common. What was it? Was it A, they were all Asian, B, they were all African American, C, they were all bisexual, or D, they all had their picture taken by him, being Jeffrey Dahmer? Every victim besides two of them had one thing in common. What was it? Tracy Chapman. After all those years of being ignored by pop music and the rock and roll music stations, Tracy Chapman, it took, Luke Combs to reintroduce and play her song and record it, Fast Car, before someone finally started to look back at her catalog of music and say, yeah, but damn, Tracy Chapman actually put out some really good music. And she did. She really did. She shouldn't be just remembered for the one song, Fast Car. But kudos to Luke Combs for recording the song and actually playing the song live in concert with her at, I believe, at the Grand Ole Opry as well. But they may have done actually more than one venue and played the song. Every victim but two all had one thing in common. What was it? The correct answer is D as in dog. Jeffrey Dahmer took their picture either with them alive or with dead when they were dead, and he did it with a Polaroid camera. He took pictures of every single one of them except for two. She's an icon. She is. I threw up in my basket in the library. I decided I need a vacation after this. I'm sorry. All right. Question number 18. What was Jeffrey's ultimate goal with each and every victim besides the rush and release he got by killing them? Was it A, to make a skin suit like Ed Gein? B, to know he has a large body count? C, to make a sex zombie? Or D, to know he wasn't Dr. D.R.E.? What's going on? No. Well, I don't know. I don't know if Tracy Chapman ever did, a cover of other people. She probably did. But most people remember her from Fast Car. Should have stayed with mannequins. Rycart says it's D, of course, to know that he wasn't the Dr. Dre. Strange life goals. All right, question number 18. The correct answer is C as in cat. C as in cat. To make a sex zombie is the correct answer for 18. Harmless little plug for my merchandise. Again, if you're watching this live or if you're watching this afterwards, I do have merchandise that I do, have made for me. Murder Trivia Coffee is the mug you see before you. It does come with shipping and everything else internationally. All right. Question number 19. What was Jeffrey sentenced to after he was convicted of all those murders? Was it A, 1,120 years, B, 2,620 years, C, 957 years, or D, 1,399 years? What was the sentence for all of those murders that he was convicted of? And I'm talking about the first grouping, not the one that he was convicted of later on, from Ohio, from his first one. Just in the state of Wisconsin, I should have put that in there. What was his sentence? His total number of years? Rycart, 144,000. How many years was Jeffrey given? Question number 19 of 20. The correct answer to question number 19 is C as in cat. His total sentence was 957 years for the 16 murders that he was convicted of. 957 years. Good luck, Jeffrey. Question number 20 of 20. What year was Jeffrey Dahmer beaten and murdered in prison? Was it A, 1999, B, 1971, C, 1998, or D, 1994? What year was Jeffrey Dahmer beaten and murdered? Question number 20 of 20. Yes, Pippadot. I did get your super chat last night. Thank you very much, Pippadot. "1999" by Bones, Thugs and Harmony. Oh wow! Now there's a musical group that I haven't heard of in a long time. Yeah, you know what I was listening to this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I was listening to Warren G. I had forgotten all about how much I enjoy Warren G's music. The Regulators. I actually went down this rabbit hole. I was looking for a completely different song, and Warren G just kept on coming up over and over again in the suggestions. And I'm like, God, I used to like Warren G. I think I did, and I started listening to it, and I ended up taking up most of my afternoon. But Warren G. With the mop handle, he had an inferior behavior. All right, question number 20 of 20. The correct answer is D, as in dog. 1994. While in prison, Jeffrey would shape his food into the shape of male genitalia with ketchup on it, representing blood. This was just one of the reasons that Christopher Scarver would eventually kill Jeffrey Dahmer. He kept on mocking the entire justice system and the victims. And eventually, Christopher Scarver just couldn't take it anymore. There were quite a few errors that took place for Jeffrey Dahmer and Christopher Scarver to even be in the same area at the same time. But as far as I know, and maybe somebody else can confirm this or get, if you're watching this afterwards, you can post a comment in, and give me a confirmed website or a link to something. I don't think that any of the officers who were on duty that day, who were supposed to be watching over what was taking place in the gym and the weight room that day, I don't think any of them were ever fired for what they, for their complete malice to the entire thing. They just didn't care, what happened to Jeffrey. There was supposed to be one stationed in watching the inmates in the inside of this, gymnasium weight room area. There was another one that was not supposed to have allowed someone from protective custody in with mingling with people from the general population. All of these things. On top of that, there was multiple errors that were, where someone should have said, okay, this area is cleaned. There's no other inmates in there, and then Jeffrey and his other excuse me excuse me, the other inmates could have went in there to clean. I hate allergies. Didn't he think Dahmer wasn't a true serial killer? Well, Christopher Scarver has had a lot of different things to say over the years since he was, he did it. But anyways, how did you end up doing on the trivia tonight? This is completely optional. You do not have to give yourself a letter grade. A, 17 to 20, right? B, 13 to 16. C, an 8 to 12. D, 2 to 7. But everyone is a rock star status, regardless if you want to keep score or not. Again, we only play for fun and for entertainment purposes only. This is not exploitive of the victims or of the actual crimes itself. We are only playing for fun, and it's completely optional if you want to give yourself a letter grade. The sneak peek poll question. You do not have to answer this now. You can ponder this for the next 24 hours, but it will be on the community tab on YouTube tomorrow before 10 a.m. And the poll question this week is, should inmates who have been sentenced to natural life or the death penalty be allowed to take part in college courses at taxpayer expenses? Is it A, yes, B, no, C, maybe, depends on the inmate, or D, I have no opinion on the question. What about Smurfs? Should inmates who have been sentenced to natural life or the death penalty be allowed to take part in college courses at taxpayer expenses? It's up to you. It's your view. There is no right or wrong answer. Again, you can answer D. You have no opinion. Or C, maybe. It depends upon the inmate itself. But you don't have to answer it now. You can ponder it for the next 24 hours. Again, it will be on the community tab tomorrow before 10 a.m. And thank you to each and every one of you for playing along tonight. I really do appreciate everyone being here tonight, to take part in the trivia. I hate this time of year. I really do. My allergies are just through the damn roof. Because now in my area, it's warming up, and we have these trees here. They're called Russian olives trees. No, they don't produce actual olives. That's just the name of the stupid tree, and they're a pest. And they're a non-invasive. They're an invasive species. They were not supposed to be here. In the 1930s and early, going into the late 30s, 40s, they were brought here by farmers as a windbreak, and because they grow fast for the farmers in this area. Well, birds started eating the little berry things on them, and then they actually eat the rest of it, and then they poop out the seeds, and now they're everywhere. In my area, they've spent the last 20 years trying to eradicate this stupid tree. If you have, seasonal allergies, you do not want to live here. I've been taking so much damn Dimetap and, acetaminophen and everything else just to try to get through the last week. But right now, because, the wintertime, it's great. But as soon as we hit that 50 degrees, they open up and they release their pollen out of the little freaking berry like things on them. But they don't produce an actual olive itself again. They're just called a Russian olive, and they're a pain in the ass. I hate them. My head is just like. I either sound like I'm completely wasted, or I sound like I'm a million miles away in a tunnel. And I'm sitting here. This is my tea. Passion fruit. what the name of the company is that makes this tea, and I'm going to put a link in the description, in the comment section here. I have it actually saved. I get nothing for this. All right. I have no affiliation with it at all. Yeah, I know. It's like a million miles long, but I don't know how to make it shorter. But that's the tea. It's by the company called Love R, Lovare. And the tea is actually made in Ukraine. Well, the tea leaves come from there, from the northern part, but the western part of the Ukraine near Belarus. Um, so don't think that the money is actually going to Ukraine. That has nothing to do with it. Why I buy it and why I drink it. I just happen to think that it's some of the best damn tea I've ever had, and I like it. Again, I'm drinking it out of my Happy Days. Joni. Joni loves Chachi. I have both sets of Joni glasses, and I have Chachi glasses, and then I have the ones with the two of them on there. It says Joni loves Chachi. Was it 1971? 77. Happy Days. When there was real television. I love tea. My favorite thing. Believe how much the yellow pollen you guys got until my ex in South Carolina showed me his truck. It was covered in it. Yeah, if I go outside and I take a picture of my wife's car, she has a it's a 2023 Chevy Traverse, and it's a dark blue. It looks like somebody threw like baking powder all over the car. It's like a white powder. It's all over the vehicle. It's really easy to see, and it's on everything. It's in the air. When you breathe it in, it's terrible. What kind of tea is it, Sal? It's passion fruit. It's the one that I'm drinking. It's an unsweetened tea. I sweeten it with honey, and I make it a hot tea, and then and then I dilute it down and make it into a cold tea. So it's pretty good as a hot tea too. I've had it as a hot tea exactly the way the instructions are say to make it, but I prefer it as a cold tea. Fonzie didn't know how to ride a motorcycle. Not when they first started. He crashed the first one. One of his motorcycles that was actually used on the television show is owned by Richard Rawlings. He had the television fame Gas Monkey Garage. He owns one of them. Another one is owned by a man, I believe, who lives in, I want to say, Montana. And then there's one that is missing. But there were several different variations of the motorcycle. But yeah, he did not know how to ride a motorcycle, when the show started. But he became a little bit proficient later on. Passion fruit, is that the name it sells underneath? No. The name of the company is Lovare. Lovare. That's the name of the company. But they make a whole bunch of different ones. But the first one that came up on Amazon, which I posted a link to, that is not an affiliate link. I get nothing from telling people about this tea. I just personally like it. But your taste might be completely different from mine. Some people might say, no, this is passion fruit and something else mixture, whatever. I don't care. I like it, and people just wanted to know. So I told people about it. if there's ever going to be a drink company out there that sponsors me, I would hope it would be Liquid Death, the water company, because I drink a massive amount of their water. And no, I am not buying it from the supermarket, at supermarket prices. I get it through Costco, and I get it so it doesn't even ship to the store. It ships directly from the warehouse to me. How much of it I drink on a weekly basis. Canned water. Who would have ever thought that'd be a real thing? Canned water. Isn't there a jump the shark came from? Yeah, and when the group went to California on vacation, Fonzie jumped, he went over a ramp and he jumped over a shark cage, I guess, in the water. Arthur Fonzarelli. The passion fruit tea is great for inflammation of organs. I did not know that. I just like it. There's all kinds of things out there, that maybe we all like. I mean, I know people who drink a lot of like lemon water, lemon tea, and they swear that it helps them with one thing or another. Great. I'm not going to tell you not to drink it, lemon tea or lemon water. I mean, we all need to drink more water, but I don't ever look into the health benefits of some of these things. I mean, God knows I'm unhealthy the way it is. I should take better care of myself, but I don't. Well, I think we're all like that. We all could do more, but we don't. Either we don't have the time or the money, or something is in the way, or we don't think about it until it's too late. Gosh, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that if I would have known this was going to happen. Hindsight is always 20/20. Miss K, you do lemon tea, lemon water. But the honey that I use for that I put in it is from mine and my wife's hives. We have our own beehives. We're about to, this coming year, we're going to have one less place that we actually will have our hives, because the property is getting ready to be sold, and it's in the back, we call like the back 40 of the property. It's just off in way off in the distance of the property, but there's a new subdivision and a road that's coming in, and they're selling the property where we have one of the hives. It's only it's got three deep well boxes, and it's got the extractor, and it's got the queen. So cucumber in water is so refreshing. Kitty Coo likes hops and barley. I don't mind hops and barley either. Warm water and lemon juice every morning. Sounds good. Do you like, when you put the cucumbers in water for your drink, are you using regular cucumbers or like English cucumbers? And if you know what those are. You would love to be a beekeeper, me? It's not that hard. It's not that hard at all. You can buy live bees through Amazon. No joke. Or maybe you got flowers. You got anybody out there got a flower garden? You can go on Amazon and you can buy 10,000 ladybugs and they'll ship them right to your home. And ladybugs will eat if you have a problem with mosquitoes or aphids. You can buy 10,000 ladybugs in a bag, little satchel bag, and they're alive, 10,000 of them. But you can buy bees. One of the best bee companies, like for hive boxes and stuff like that, is out of actual Minnesota. Yes, they're kitty Q. They're called English cucumbers. You can look it up. But that my family is like, is fixated on English cucumbers over regular cucumbers. Oh gosh, I wouldn't even know where to start with that, kitty Q. How many different cucumbers are out there? There are hundreds of varieties that I've seen seeds and stuff like that for. How are they different? And are they a hybrid of another one? And this one's a hybrid of another one. I don't know the answer to that. I don't even grow cucumbers in my garden. Tomatoes. I do tomatoes, onion, garlic, artichoke, and corn. And then we try carrots. Carrots are kind of hit or miss. Sometimes we get a really good crop, and other times we don't. And then potatoes. Yes, they do. And aphids. Ladybugs they're not just cute, but they're also vicious little suckers, and they're perfect for you, especially if you have like a flower garden. You just buy a bag of them and sprinkle them out all over your garden. Some of them will fly away. You will. That's why they sell them at 10,000 of them in a bag, because you will lose a majority of them will fly away, but enough of them will stick around and help. You got sick 3 years ago and you got 3 autoimmune disorders. I'm sorry, Miss K. Where do you get what? Where do you get ladybugs? You can buy them on Amazon, just like bees. You buy a you want to Meep said wants to be a beekeeper. It's not that hard. The hard part is trying to get the honey away from the bees if you don't have a bee suit and a smoker and gloves, tape. You gotta protect yourself from the bees because they're gonna get a little mad when you try to steal their food. But nothing is better if you live in an area and say you have seasonal allergies, hay fever, whatever it might be. All right, get honey that is locally sourced, like from your area, and put that in with your tea or your coffee or whatever you drink. That it'll help a lot, because bees will fly miles away for food, for their nectar and everything else, and then they come back, and then something about the actual honey itself that they attract. And you can actually end up with honey that has like garlic hints to it or onion hints to it. But FYI, bees do not pollinate marijuana. I see that myth online so much. Oh my God, this tastes like marijuana. No, bees do not pollinate marijuana. They don't like the plant at all. But I see the myth online all the time about, hey, I got some really good marijuana tea, honey. No, you don't. The only way you're getting any kind of marijuana flavor in a tea is if you're infusing the oil into the honey itself. Because bees won't have anything to do with the plant. It's a weed to them. Hence the name. It's weed. Your brother had Wagner's disease. I'm sorry. No, I seen a new thing. It was on an ad on YouTube. A man said used to take days. Now the new system takes minutes. Sal says we have a lot of local honey here in Tennessee. Husband got some honey, buzz honey. I think he's trying to kill me. You better not. Don't you kill Kitty Coo. You only buy local honey? Well, it's also another way. If you buy local honey, it's also a great way to guarantee that you're receiving real honey. There are a lot of fake honeys out there in your supermarkets. And I hate to break the bad news to you. You may even be paying a premium price for high fructose corn syrup that is mixed in with honey. You have to look at where the actual honey is produced and where it's coming from, its origin on top of it. The same thing happens in the maple syrup business. Any way that somebody figured out that they could make an extra couple of bucks, on an item. Hey, you know what? We're running low on maple, this year. Let's put some of this, a couple 55-gallon drums of, high fructose corn syrup in there. We just won't put it on the label. And then they ship it into the United States as natural honey or natural maple syrup. And then it gets repackaged, and that producer, where it's packaged, doesn't know that high fructose corn syrup has been put into it. The same thing happens in olive oil. You have to look at the actual, where the origin of that olive oil is, and how fresh it is, and how long it was actually, how long ago it was. Again, anytime anyone's figured out a way to make money on something, make a couple more bucks, they will do it. But buy local, especially when it comes for honey. And I know when the vast majority of us are not going to live near any place that has maple trees for maple syrup, fresh maple syrup. But just know you have to research the companies out there if you really want the real stuff. Miss K, I only get Canadian honey. Now, Manuka honey, isn't that the trippy honey, Miss K? The hallucinogenic honey from New Zealand? Oh, it's called Mad Honey. Is that the stuff that I'm thinking of? Manuka or Manuka? They have a honey that's like that. That is also sold in the Philippines. You got to go. Have a great week. You as well, Sal. I'm going to wrap up today's trivia night. Again, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight, playing along trivia and for the conversation and everything else. I hope that everyone has a terrific week. Again, the poll question will be on the community tab tomorrow before 10 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time. So at 3 hours, that's 1 o'clock on the eastern, part of the United States. But Next week's trivia, I'm not sure what the actual subject matter is going to be. It all depends on which one will be done. And I hope to have it done by Tuesday. That way, if you check the community tab, you'll see, the actual listing of what is the trivia for the next one. Again, I always work on 3 or 4 of them at the same time. Until I can confirm the information for it, that's where we're at. All right. But everyone have a terrific week. And thank you again. Bye.